Welcome into another edition of the Stripe Show podcast. It is Froggy Wednesday. Today we are joined by, now listen, this list is going to get long, but I always have to give the accomplishments of the guests that we have on. All right, 37 professional wins, 1997 PGA champ, 2017 World Golf Hall of Fame inductee, 2012, 2016 Ryder Cup captain, 2022 President's Cup captain. Ladies and gentlemen, it is DL3 or Davis Love III. Thank you, Davis.
Thank you. Glad to be on.
That's a long list of accomplishments, man.
Yeah, it just means that you're getting older. I played almost more PGA Tour events than anybody in the history. So I'm chasing that record too.
Really?
I've made more cuts than Arnold Palmer, or I'm close to catching Arnold Palmer, maybe. So I'm trying to chase the old guy records now. Being around the longest is a good record to have too.
Yeah, but you're still playing the big boy events. How difficult is it now for you to play these big boy events? Because some of these ballparks are huge.
It's tough. Like last week at the Rocket Mortgage, I played with Cam Young and Will Zalatoris, and I saw how it's done these days, and maybe how I did it back in the 80s and the 90s, just cutting every corner and hitting it over every tree. I'm trying to think, I can't get to that bunker, and then they're flying it completely over them. They don't even see them. So that one's hard, but places like Wyndham or Hilton Head, there's still some courses where the Zach Johnsons and the Davis Loves, and back in the day, the Justin Leonards can still compete, but they're getting fewer and farther between for sure.
It has turned into just a distance game. It is unbelievable. All these guys coming out last week here on the pod. We had Chris Goddard up, and I mean, he's like 200 mile per hour ball speed, cracking 2 irons. These guys are just hitting it an absolute mile now.
It's unbelievable. You know, I can't complain about it because I was that guy. You know, I was the longest on tour until Daly showed up. And, you know, Freddie was long, obviously VJ, a lot of Phil, a lot of the guys I played against were long. Then Tiger came out and was longer and straighter than me. But I was that guy, so I can't complain about it. But no, everybody does it. Back at home, Drew Love and Jackson Bird, Jonathan's son, are smoking it by me. It's everybody that wants to play the game. And Matt Kuchar made a great point to me a few years ago. He goes, the ones that we see on the PGA Tour, they've survived all these other tours and qualifyings, and they are the elite. And you can't survive to get to the tour unless you have power, because there's so many guys out there that have it. It's just like baseball. You know, everybody on the team can hit a home run. It used to be you had a home run hitter and you had a single hitter. Now everybody can hit a home run. Bigger, stronger, better athletes have hit the PGA Tour the last 10 years for sure.
Yeah, I look at all this as guys, not just the Tiger effect, but like you said, you even hit it long. There's so many guys hitting it long that now I've got a 20-year-old son. He plays golf and he hits it a long ways. Speed has become the game, and everybody's just trying to hit it as far as they can and go find it before they're really trying to do the fundamentals, which is maybe the way I learned to play golf.
Well, yeah, we've seen it with so many players recently. If you hit it far enough down there where you're hitting a wedge out of the rough, then you can survive missing a few fairways. Obviously, last week, Tony put on a stripe show. He hit it in so many fairways. He had a lot of 2 irons, a lot of 3 woods, drove it great when he had to. But the reason he beat Cam Young was just a few more fairways. Cam got behind some trees, got in trouble a couple times, got out of position. The first day, he was rattled a little bit starting off. Obviously, the second day, he set the course record. But Tony now is playing the power game, but under control, like Tiger did. Tiger was boring. He was really, really boring. You know, he put it in a lot of fairways and a lot of middle of greens, just like Jack Nicklaus. They understood that, hey, if I just keep getting myself birdie putts, I'm the best ball striker. I'm the best pressure putter. As long as I keep myself in the game. I think Tony has figured that out, how to play patient golf. And you know what? Cam Young is young. He'll figure it out. But that power is what you have to have. And, you know, this is a little ballpark here at Wyndham, but most of the ones we play are big ballparks. And that's why you see those guys, that the long hitters are coming out on top.
Now, you mentioned last week you played with Cam Young and who else last week?
And Will Zalatoris.
It's the Will Zalatoris and Cam Young. I'm just taking a look at these President's Cup standings. Let's see. Will Zalatoris currently in 10th and Cam Young currently in 12th. And who do you play with this week?
I'm playing with Kevin Kisner, and our today announced Webb Simpson is one of our assistant captains. So I got a good pairing this week. Now, they're not happenstance at this time of year for me.
Right.
Now, next week, the playoffs are done by rankings. But the captains are Trevor Illman has that same luxury a little bit too. We're getting ready for President's Cup. We're moving and shaking. And we had some good pairings over the last month. Obviously, TV likes to have a wave of guys that they put in there for, they call it feature group,
Right.
television window guys. And so I can, as long as I got television window guys, I can rearrange them a little bit and suggest to the committee that they play together. And I don't need to be playing with them other than I don't need to really see their games. I need to get to know them better. Obviously, Cam and Will are new to me. I've had Kisner and Webb around a long time. But Webb is an assistant. Kisner is a guy that's trying to make the team. They're good. I can get good info from them the next 2 days for sure.
How much are they lobbying you for spots? Like, hey, DL, I'd like to play. And really, I mean, obviously, they want to play. They don't have to tell you that.
Yeah, they don't have to tell me. And what I try to do when a guy asks me, one player asked me, do you think I need to play Rocket or Wyndham, or should I get ready for the playoffs? I go, no, do your routine. I want you to win the FedEx Cup. That's one thing I stress to a lot of the guys that were on the bubble in 16 is if you win the FedEx Cup, I promise you're going to be on the team. So you need to just go play and not worry about the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup points. I fell into that trap. Tom Lehman's team was the first team I missed. I played 12 in a row, and I was trying so hard to make points, to play a little bit hurt, to impress the captain. And that's not what you want to do. You want to just go do your normal routine. Obviously, everybody in the top 30 right now is thinking, I'm going to get on a run and try to win the FedEx Cup like Billy Horschel did that year. So that's what I want them to focus on. And we're going to make 6 picks. It's not going to be based on, one tournament. It's going to be based on a body of work. But if they're hot at the end, that's what we want.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the rule changed, and that's why we pick later now, because Billy went on that run, and the picks had already been done. He didn't get in. I believe that was the Ryder Cup that year, right?
Yeah, and then we changed it. And then the problem was Tiger wins the Tour Championship, and we go, hey, just throw your stuff on the plane. We're going to Paris. It was a last minute thing. Or Ryan Moore, when he played great in the playoffs, and then we just grabbed him and he said, can I go home and get some more clothes and come back? So it's a little bit awkward to do it that way. So this time and for Steve Stricker's team, we spread it out a little bit. We got a little gap where a guy makes a team. We got a couple weeks, then we can go practice, which we did at Whistling Straits, which was a lot of fun and very helpful. And of course, we didn't know. So we'll name the top 6 after the BMW, and then we'll make the 6 picks after the Tour Championship
on the 29th.
Right.
So how difficult is it now with you having to play? You said you played last week at the Rocket Mortgage. You're playing this week at the Wyndham. How difficult is it for you to prepare to get ready to be a captain? Now, you've done this before, maybe not exactly President's Cup. You've played on President's Cups, been an assistant captain 2 Ryder Cups. How difficult is it for you to play and then still be able to handle all of your duties?
Well, it's hard. It keeps you busy. I come into a Rocket Mortgage or a Wyndham with a whole bunch of hats on. I'm coming in trying to help the tour with their fight or their protecting against the live thing. I come in as the President's Cup captain, trying to organize guys and get things done and get ready for them. And then I'm trying to play. So it's a lot going on. But as Fred Couples said at my house a lot of times when he come hang out, he goes, there's way too much going on at your house. You need to sit down and relax. I'm used to doing stuff, staying busy. We're in the golf course design business. We run a PGA Tour event. We got a lot going on at my house, but it has affected my preparation. I think last week I got a little excited playing with those guys hitting it a long way. I birdied 3 of the first 5, and I'm like, I'm going to crush these kids.
I'm on.
And then next thing you know, I'm in last. It's distracting. But you know what? If I'm able to play, because what you said before, I had 21 wins. I'm a life member. I can come out and play a Wyndham or a Rocket Mortgage. I am getting to the point where I don't want to be taking up a spot. If I don't feel like I can make a cut, I'm hitting it good. I'm playing great on the range. I just got to get it onto the golf course. I've had a lot of injuries the last 10 years, but I'm pointing towards next year. This week is again a multiple mission. See some guys, get ready for the playoffs. I go to Memphis next week to watch them get started, do some close fittings. We're really in full President's Cup mode right now.
Right. It's difficult to be able to do that, but at the same time, like you said, you got so many hats on that you're not only trying to take care of your own game, make a cut and make a presentable showing, but at the same time, you're watching other guys. Are you watching other guys while you're out there on the golf course at all?
A little bit. Like I was watching, as I said, Cam and Will Zalatoris last week, not really watching them play, but watching them together. Like they spend a lot of time together. They're buddies, right. Teammates
right.
in college, they room together on the road. I know all that, but how do they react with each other? How are they going to handle pressure? If this guy hits a bad shot, if that guy hits a bad shot, I watched them. They would hit and they would zoom together to walk down the fairway, and one guy would be in trouble and the other, and you could tell that they were watching out for each other and pulling for each other. And it's not just two guys that know each other. It's two guys that really get, like Cantlay and Schauffele. They're just peas in a pod.
Right.
And we've had teams like that before, our friends like that before, that didn't do well playing in the tournament. And you have to ask them. So I flat out asked Zalatoris, I said, what do you think? And he goes, it would be a dream for us to play together. Well, that's just not, we want them both on the team because they're great players.
Right.
Then we really want them on the team because we don't have to worry about who they're going to play with. We got a natural team. Like I said, Cantlay, Schauffele, Jordan, Justin. We have some natural teams that I'm not going to be sitting around staying up late at night going, oh my gosh. Max Homa will play with anybody. Scotty Scheffler will play with anybody. It's nice to have those guys, but it's also nice to have teams that I'll run Cam Young and Zalatoris out there every time against anybody.
Right.
That power to some.
How difficult, or actually how important, is chemistry over just quality players? When you're going down and you've got your 6 picks, how important is chemistry of these guys work together, these guys work with other guys that are already in, over just picking, I'm going to pick the best 6 players and chemistry will build itself?
No, you have to pick. I've always said it like, if I've got a football team and I need a quarterback and I go in the draft and I come back with a running back, the whole team's going to go, what the heck just happened? We don't have a quarterback. So if I go pick the best player available on stats and points, but then he comes in the team and he's not good in the team room and he's hard to pair, I've just thrown off.
Agreed. Sorry.
I've just thrown off 11 guys. Well, we've lost some guys that could play on the team, but we've lost some guys that are hard to pair.
Right, exactly.
To be nice.
You're exactly right, and it was so that we've lost. Just off the top, Brooks, DJ, Bryson, Reed, Bubba. We have lost some good players. However, the truth of the matter is, I'm not sure that any of those guys that I just named would have been in the top 6 anyways, and they would have made the team on just points. They would have had to have been captain's picks to begin with.
Yeah, Taylor Gooch was, I think, the highest in points when the London tournament started. He was the highest in points. There were guys that could have made the team, yes, but they were going. But again, there's so many points in the playoffs. You just had to expect. Okay, Dustin Johnson. He hadn't played a whole lot. Wedding, slow season. He didn't play great in the majors, but you had to expect that Dustin was going to make a run in the playoffs. He was an American golf hero at Whistling Straits. He's easy to pair. Everybody wants to play with Dustin. You would think that no matter where he was in points, believe it or not, he's our veteran.
Right.
You would probably pick Dustin. And I love Dustin. Dustin did everything I asked him as an assistant captain or a captain. He was a great team guy. Everybody kind of gave him a hard time as being aloof and not paying attention and not into it. Dustin was impressive to me. I watched all but 4 holes of his golf at Whistling Straits. I follow him around like a puppy dog in Ryder Cups and President's Cups because I just love watching him play and I love what he does for his teammates. So that is disappointing not to have that guy. But really, you're right. None of them were like on fire and we're going to miss them. Now, Trevor, on the other hand, he lost more guys that were probably going to be on the team or that he really needed on the team. I said it today to guys I was playing with in a practice round. Our first 12 is really good. Our second 12 is really good. And our third 12 is really good. Trevor doesn't have that luxury. He has a really good first 12, and then he starts falling off. His bench isn't that deep. So he's losing some guys. But you know what? It gives guys an opportunity. There will be a couple guys on each team that aren't household names that come up, play well in the playoffs, and they get picked, and they're going to be superstars. It always happens in the President's Cup. Somebody plays better, is a surprise hero for their team. I fully expect that'll happen for both of us. It's still going to be a great competition.
I see it as the opportunity is now open. Dustin Johnson is a phenomenal player. He made his decision that he made. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But now these guys were not household names at one time. Remember, Dustin Johnson was not a household name. He hit every shot, but the PGA Tour provided him an arena to become who he was. That arena still exists, and there are new guys, new blood that will come along that will fill these slots, and they will become the new players that we're talking about week in and week out.
Yeah, look at the last 2 weeks of Tony Finau. We've been waiting for him to explode. He had a great Ryder Cup. He had a good year last year. The guy hardly missed a shot last week, and he had two kids, an American kid and a Canadian kid, that both have power games, chasing him down. And it was exciting golf. I've watched a lot more golf lately, and the depth of talent, especially American talent, but the depth of talent on the PGA Tour is incredible. And here's what people have to understand. Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer were the PGA Tour for a while. There was a lot of other great players. But they said when Jack and Arnie retire, the tour is going to fall apart. Well, it didn't. We had great players since then. The tour is going to move on. Believe it or not, it will move on from Tiger Woods and Scotty Scheffler and Cam Young. Yeah, every league. The NBA didn't fold up when Michael Jordan retired.
No.
Then there was Kobe, and then there was LeBron. And now look at the league.
Yeah.
The
NFL's not going away when Tom Brady walks away. It's going to suck.
Right.
But there's other players.
Yeah, there's new superstars out there. Jackson Bird from Sea Island, Georgia, looks like a superstar coming. You know what he wants to do? He wants to win PGA Tour events like his dad did. He doesn't want to win hundreds of millions of dollars and just get paid to play golf. He wants to win golf tournaments. And that is what people have to understand. That's what Rory McIlroy, as a PGA Tour board member, or Tiger Woods, that's what we're defending and what we're fighting, is that platform for the next generation to be able to come out and play. And that's what's sad, is these guys are turning their back on the platform. Greg Norman did it in 94. He tried to do it in 94 with his world tour back then. They're turning their back on the platform that made them superstars. And how about this stat? I made $58 million comprehensive earnings in my career on the PGA Tour. Official money, unofficial money, retirement, FedEx, $58 million. Let's say Cam Young has a Davis Love III career starting now. He's going to projected to make $615 million. Now, It's not about the money, but that Patrick Cantlay made $22 million on the golf course on the PGA Tour last year. That didn't count his benefits, what he made off the course.
Right.
The opportunities there, they are not getting cheated. And you can play for Jack Nicklaus's records and Tiger Woods' records and try to win one more PGA Tour event than some other guy, like Rory said. Rory and I are tied at 21. I don't think I have a chance of getting back ahead of him. But that's what's important is like Tiger says, you dig it out of the dirt, you earn it yourself, and you chase records. Tiger literally said he doesn't want them to change the Champions Tour age, because if he started before 50, he can't chase the same records. That's what golf is about, is chasing, is beating. I would love to beat Sam Snead's record of the oldest guy to win on the PGA Tour. But if I go over and play an exhibition tour for a pile of money, I can't do that.
Right. Right. It's all about legacy. And legacy means something. It absolutely means something. And yesterday, Forbes put out a magazine, put out a list. Forbes magazine put out a list of the highest paid golfers. Number one is Phil Mickelson, $138 million. Davis, Phil hasn't won a golf tournament since May of 2021. That was the major. It was a phenomenal win at Kiowa. I'm not taking anything away from him. However, to have made $138 million, and since he joined the Live Tour, he's played 11 rounds of golf, 9 on Live, 2 Open Championship rounds, and he's 31 over par, and he's the highest paid golfer in the world. That makes no sense. That's not growing the game.
No, growing the game. Here's what growing the game is. It's the USGA. It's the PGA of America. It's Augusta National drive, chip, and putt. It's PGA Tour doing the first tee. That's growing the game. We've been doing that forever. All those organizations. The RNA makes the rules in Europe. The rest of the world, other than the United States, they grow the game. Playing an exhibition tour. Hey, Freddie Couples and I made a lot of money in November, December in our career playing Mark Rolfing's Kapalua event or Tiger Woods Target World Challenge or the World Cup, made for TV events that were great TV, but they were not real tournaments.
No,
they were exhibition tournaments. They weren't. I have 21 PGA Tour wins, and as you said, 37 worldwide wins. Those are others. Over 21 are others. Ryder Cup wins don't count in your 21 because it's a team event. So there's no problem with them playing these events and putting them on TV and people watching, but you can't come back and play the Players Championship on a win. You're not a member of the PGA Tour. You haven't earned that right. You broke a rule. You gave up your legacy and your ability to play those events. PGA of America is a complicated system, but you have to be a member of the PGA of America. You have to be a member of the PGA Tour to be a member of the PGA of America to be able to play in their tournament. And the Masters can pretty much do whatever they want.
Right. And my issue is, if you want to go. If that's what you want to do, and that's what it is about, and that's what you want to do. And I could even make an argument that there are some guys that's probably what they should go do because they're not going to win on the tour again. And that's fine. And I would make that same argument about the guys who have won so far. Schwarzel, Brennan Grace, and Henrik Stenson. They probably were not going to win another tour event. Charles Schwarzel hadn't won since the Valspar in 16. Brennan Grace won an alternate event, the Puerto Rico, in 21. And Henrik Stenson won the Hero in 19, not a fulfilled event. I can make an argument some guys should go. However, don't go over there. Say you want to play less golf. So you've got to play now the 14 events that they tell you to play. You can't pick and choose your events like you can on the PGA Tour, number one. And then number two, don't go play your 14 events and then say, oh, we're going to sue to come back and play your events. No. You got your money. Stay over there and play your events. Don't come back and try to take our money on the guys that have stayed here and done it the right way.
Yeah, I love Eddie Pepperell. Just go. Take the money and go. Yeah, that's fine. That's your decision. And I don't hold, Charles Howell can make that decision. Taylor Gooch.
That one shocked me.
Yeah.
I will say the two that have surprised me the most are Taylor Gooch, because I think he had a really, really bright career on the PGA Tour ahead of him. I really do. And Charles Schwarzel being a longtime guy who has just been, just a veteran, played so many rounds, a super good guy. I've had Charles here on the podcast before, and he really is a good guy. He still is a good guy. However, I just disagree with his decision-making. Those two really surprised me.
Yeah, Charles Howell, he's got 600 plus PGA Tour starts. He was the one guy that could possibly run me down if I break the record of 802 or whatever it is. But he's given up that opportunity, and he says it's not for the money. Then why did you do it?
Right. There is nothing else.
There is nothing else. It's unfortunate that they have to tell a story. Like Jay Monahan, our commissioner, said, they have to apologize for playing in those tournaments.
I'll tell you what else I've noticed.
Stenson's 2-paragraph thing was, I understand that I am doing something that's probably wrong, so let me explain to you why I'm doing it.
Right. And by the way, to completely say 2 months ago, it's a lifelong dream of mine to be a Ryder Cup captain, and 2 months later, that lifelong dream isn't worth whatever they paid you. Like, it just doesn't sit well with me. And I know, and the problem is, if this was being backed by Jeff Bezos, if this was being backed by Elon Musk, and it was American money, I don't care if it was Swiss money, if it was UK, and that would be fine. Where this money comes from and what goes on in Saudi Arabia, that's what bothers me. And that can't be denied. And it just can't be looked the other way. And I think if you look at Charles Howell's post, and like I said, I like Charles, but if you have to post every post on Instagram and you have to turn the comments off, you might want to ask yourself why.
Yeah, that right now in this country, it's 50-50 on any issue, except for live. It's like 75 or 80% against.
It is.
And that's hard to believe. If you're in politics, you take 60% on your side.
Right.
These guys, if they're doing it for the country to grow their economy, to be relevant in the world, sports washing is a term that's thrown out. But if they're doing it for good PR and growing the game, well, that's not working. You're getting terrible publicity for golf, terrible publicity for your country, especially in the United States. It doesn't seem to be working. And then if you had fact checking going on during their press conferences and then their statements, or when they go on TV, they're saying things that just aren't true. You call it a lie or fabrication. It's just not. Pat Perez saying that he had to miss his son's birth. Well, if somebody reads that, they don't understand. Oh, see, yeah, the PGA Tour made him miss his his second son's birth. No, you don't have to play.
Right. But where you've gone, you now do have to play.
Yeah. You think
they
Pat
give you
says,
your 14 events.
My kid's birthday is during your big tournament at Doral. I'm not going. No. No, you're going.
Right.
You're under contract. We have to have 48 guys show up.
But with the PGA Tour, that doesn't happen.
No, you've seen guys skip playoff events.
Right.
Guys skip playoff events and then win the FedEx. You don't have to play. And then, independent contractor might not be the right term, because we're members of a league that has rules. If I don't commit by Friday, I don't get to play the next week, no matter who I am. I'm a life member. I can't just say on Tuesday, you know what? I didn't commit to play by Friday, but since I'm a life member, this is what Phil's saying. I'm a life member. I can do whatever I want. I can't just show up and play. I have to commit like everybody else in the 156-man field. I have to commit by Friday. And I have to play 15 events to get my PGA Tour membership benefits. We have rules. And some of them are big and some of them are small. I wore shorts today. Thursday, I have to wear pants. Well, it's a small rule, but it's a league rule.
Right.
You have to have a release to go play in another tournament on TV, because we sold $660 million contract to FedEx for the season. We can't have you going off and playing against the tournaments that we sold to RBC and Workday.
Right.
AT&T paid for this, and you're over there playing for somebody else. We can't allow that. Now, they do allow it. If I say I want to play, 1 week on the European Tour a year, they're going to let me go 1 week. But if I'm going to play 14 big tournaments against PGA Tour big tournaments weeks before majors, it can't happen. We can't sell to our sponsors. Luckily, sponsors like RBC, who've had a tough 3 years, in Canada, COVID cancellations, they had a tough time at the RBC Heritage. They built it, canceled, built it again, had it in June. They're a sponsor that's had a tough go. And then they re-upped. Our sponsors get it. They understand the platform. RSM, my tournament sponsor, they say whatever happens in the fall, we want to be a part of the PGA Tour. No matter if it's FedEx points or Masters win, we want to be on the PGA Tour because of what it stands for and what the Davis Love Foundation stands for. And that's those guys are saying they're doing it to grow the game. No, The PGA Tour is growing the game. You're hurting what the PGA Tour can do to grow the game. And, unfortunately, it's going to come down to court. And then common sense doesn't prevail.
No,
So
no.
That's where
what about world golf ranking points? So if they don't, if the majors are able to, instead of the majors having to take a stand of, hey, we're not going to let you play, and they just go the world golf ranking points, how can that work? Because these events are 54 hole events. I believe one of the top rules of the official world golf rankings is it must be a 72 hole event. So then to me, that's solved at that point.
Well, I had a great conversation with Mike Wan from the USGA, and he's like every golf organization has a vote. PGA Tour, PGA of America, the European Tour, everybody has a vote. But he made some great points. He says, let's leave the 54 holes out of it. They don't have enough players in their tournament. You have to be on a tour that you can play your way onto and play your way off of. There's so many rules that they don't fit. And what they're not telling you, though, is, and I don't know if they're telling their players this, they applied July 6th, and they don't fit to qualify for the points. But they're on a year probation period. They don't get their answer until July 6th next year. We'll have already played the Masters, and we'll have already played another Players' Championship. We'll already played another U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm.
They're dropping like a rock for the next year.
Oh, I saw a stat the other day that Tony Finau has won twice. He's moved up to top 10 in the world or top 20 in the world. And then Henrik Stenson won, and he's dropped down below 100 and something. I mean, they're just dropping like a rock every week. They don't play, and other guys are moving up.
It'd be just like getting hurt and sitting out for a year. You drop off the rankings. Mm-hmm. We've set the system up. The tours, the golf organizations have set the system up to try to be more fair around the world and get a better balance and more instead of a 2 or 3 year scale where you win one tournament and it carries with you for years. They've tried to make it more current. That's really is going to hurt those guys because, Dustin is Masters champion, U.S. Open champion. He's got a lot of exemptions. But what we can apply the rules of the PGA Tour and not allow them to play. The majors might have to let a few guys play for a few years, but eventually their exemptions will go away and they can change their qualifying and say, all right, well, even if they got world ranking points, you can take Augusta can go, we only allow winners on the PGA Tour, winners on the DP Tour, and FedEx Cup points. That's how we make our field up. They don't have to use world ranking points. Neither does the U.S. Open. You don't have to use world ranking points. There'd be a lot of guys that I argue with Brad Faxon when the Masters went to top 50 in world rankings. I go, now it's easier to get in the Masters. I used to have to win a tournament on the PGA Tour to get in. Now it's easier. I just got to get in the top 50. I don't even have to win.
Right.
So they can. That's what Martin Slumbers, what Mike Wan, what Jay Monahan said. We can change the rules how we qualify for these tournaments. They've been adjusted 100 times over the last 20 years. They can be adjusted again. And what people need to understand is on the PGA Tour, the players make the rules. It's not a staff and a independent board that says these are the rules of the PGA Tour. We have 4 player directors on the board. We have 16 members of a player advisory council. Everything that happens gets voted on by the players. And we can change the players. That's my comment about a strike, which was unfortunate that they used the U.S. Open for an example. But if they sue this week and are allowed to play the playoffs, there will be some sort of a revolt. I'm not saying that the players are going to strike. But if those guys come back and pop in and are allowed to play that first playoff event by a court, it's going to get ugly.
I agree 100%. Now, let me ask you this. And you've been, like I said before, the 2012, 2016 Ryder Cup captain. You've been on other President's Cup teams. How has this affected your relationship with some of these players and guys like Phil, who I'm sure at one time you may not have been best friends, but I'm sure you were friendly. How has this affected your relationship and others' relationships with these guys?
Well, with Phil, as a longtime teammate and friend, I tried to help, and a lot of people in golf tried to help him, save him from this decision. And, I think Fred or somebody said, Phil's just gone dark. These guys know that they're doing something wrong, and they don't ask. They know my answer. They know Fred Couples' answer or Jay Haas's answer, or they know what Tiger Woods thinks. They know what Jack knows. They're not going to call and ask him, what do you think I ought to do? That's unfortunate, because we have a unified group of veteran players that feel the same way, and we have a group of players, current players. It's mind-boggling to me that these guys run and hide. Phil won't get on the phone. He didn't want to hear from me. And I called. Dustin was great. Let me just clarify. Dustin and I had a great conversation. We're still friends. He made his decision. He understands the ramifications. I get it, Dustin. Let's go fishing. The rest of them, they don't want to talk to me, or they want to tell me that I'm wrong. I'm just trying to help. So I gave up after a while. I just threw my hands up. Like, I'm getting the same canned answers, the same excuses. They're getting fed. Unfortunately, they're getting so much money, and they're getting fed so much bad information, and they're drinking the Kool-Aid, and they don't listen to the commissioner or Ed Hurley, the chairman of our board, who's an incredibly respected lawyer. No, we're going to apply these rules, and you are either suspended or you're banned for life. There's not any in between.
Right.
There's not a maybe or an if in there.
Right.
And we've been saying it for a year. So I call up a guy and say, do you understand? You will not be on the President's Cup team if you hit that ball in London. And they either, I understand, I'm going to take that chance, or they say you're wrong. So I'm a grace, forgiveness, Christian, try to help people out personality. I don't wish any ill will on them, but I tried. And that's all I can do. And now all I can do is pray for them that it turns out for the best. But I've got guys that do want to play. That's what I keep saying. I have Max Homa and Will Zalatoris and Billy Horschel.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Guys dying to play on the team. That's what's so hard, is Bubba Watson and these guys who say, my dream is to be Ryder Cup captain. And, it's the biggest thing in my life to be in the Hall of Fame.
That's done.
Even if it blows up and you say you're sorry, you still turned your back on and sued the organization that gave you the platform. That's even our little island. We got a couple guys, champions of our tournament, live on our island, that are going to sue. They're going to sue their friends on the island, for the right to play. It's just hard to imagine that we've gotten to this point in golf.
It is. Now, let me ask you a question. So I know that the top 6 after the playoff events, and then you're going to, after the BMW, then you're going to name 6. Now, there are some weeks there, and there has been rumor that there are some guys waiting for the FedEx Cup to end, and then they will declare. Anybody who declares after the FedEx Cup and decides to defect to live, they will then become ineligible automatically for the President's Cup, correct?
It's a tricky situation. Until they actually hit the ball, they have not broken the rule, is the way I understand it. So I don't know.
Cam Smith is one. I think Cam Smith is my concern. I read all the stuff, and that Cam Smith could be the one after the FedEx Cup that goes. And currently, he is, I believe, in first place in the international rankings. Yeah. Could there be a situation where he declares hasn't hit a ball yet, he would still be able to play President's Cup?
I don't know. We have a great legal team led by Lynn Brown at Ponte Vedra Tour headquarters. They can answer that a lot better than me. But my understanding is, until we had Jason Kokrak on our points list, until he hit that ball at Bedminster, and now he's off the list because he's suspended. But he hadn't done anything. You can say, I'm going to rob the bank.
Right.
But until you rob the bank, you haven't broken. So I think what they're doing is the tour is being procedural. there's a procedure to the appeals process, things that we have to go through the motions. So that is a great question, is if a guy says I'm going to live. Now, if you've taken the money and you've signed a contract, you would be in breach of. So if he comes out and says I'm going to live, and the tour says if you signed a contract, then you're suspended. I guess that would kick him out. But isn't it sad that we've been building this President's Cup for 3 years, and we're waffling on, this guy or that guy might not play the week before. But then again, Trevor's got some guys in his pocket that are dying to play.
Right. And just like you do. And that's the thing, is that you want guys on your team who want to be there. And a guy who wants to be there is better than is better than a guy who really doesn't want to be there. You'd always rather have. You don't want Cam Smith on your team if you know this is his last tournament before he gets suspended or banned. You don't want him on the team. Yeah.
Those guys nobody wants to play with them. So,
and has anybody thought about it? I'm sure you have. If, let's say, in a year or 2, 3 years, the money dries up and the live's like, hey, you know what? We did this. We obviously know right now, as we stand here today, there is no return on investment because they have no sponsors and no TV deal or any of that stuff. So I don't see where the money's coming back in. Maybe there's some stuff I don't know about. If they just decide in a few years, all right, I'm done, we don't want to do this anymore, and it dries up, then what happens with these guys? Where do they go? What do they do?
Well, that was my argument to some of them, is what happens if it doesn't work? You're taking a chance that you're banned for life.
I mean, you got money, but you can't play golf anymore. And if you love this game, that's what you want to do. I
said, what do you tell your kids? That Daddy can't play on the PGA Tour anymore. Why not? Well, I broke the rules. It's hard, but in 5 years, can you just say, hey, well, you're suspended for 5 years, now you can come back? There's a group of players that don't want them back no matter what. There's a group of players that would say, all right, well, we need them. But you know what? Like you said, Cam Young and Will Zalatoris are going to fill those gaps of superstar players.
Victor Hovland. There's a lot of stars out there. There's a lot.
Holy cow. They're so good, and they're just looking for a place. And there's a whole bunch of kids in every city, in South Florida, Orlando, Sea Island, Dallas, Vegas, that are ready to take those spots, that are digging it out of the dirt. I watch it. There's 25 kids at Sea Island, St. Simons, that are unbelievable golfers that just need a chance. And they're licking their chops, Right. Hey, yeah, go on. More you guys go. More room for me.
Yeah, I mean, I asked Billy Horschel point blank. I said, isn't some of this kind of good? Like, it makes it a little, I hate to say this, but it makes it a little easier for you. And he goes, yeah, I've thought about that. He goes, it does. He goes, it does. It opens up the door for those of us who are still here. And that's a good thing. Competition is good from the right way, but the PGA Tour is going to be just fine. People who think, I read some of this stuff on the New York Post and whatnot, like, oh, the tour's in trouble. Tour is not in trouble. There are guys that would love to play on the PGA Tour. There are guys on the Korn Ferry Tour right now that are going to be moving up. And what people don't realize is if you took a Korn Ferry player and took him to your local course and had him play, everybody there would think he's the best golfer they've ever seen. The talent level is super, super deep.
That's exactly right.
So, Davis, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. President's Cup coming up September 20th through the 25th, Quail Hollow in Charlotte. Still a few tickets available. I think 40,000 on site per day they're allowing. presidentscup.com to get your tickets. Man, we got a long winning streak going in the President's Cup since 1998. Is there any extra added pressure to that, or is it kind of like, yeah, it just is what it is? Because it was a little closer last time than it needed to be.
It was very close. We've had some big runs. Yeah, eventually, the international team is going to get hot. We've lost one and we've tied one. I don't want to be that guy.
No,
we've never lost on home soil, never tied on home soil. So we've got to keep that record going.
Well, I look at your top 6 as we stand here today, as we tee off for the Wyndham tomorrow. We got Scotty Scheffler, Cantlay, Burns, Schauffele, JT, Tony Finau. Those are in. That sounds like a World Golf Hall of Fame of current golfers right there. So I like, and then your picks. right now, Spieth, Morikawa, Homa, Zalatoris, Horschel, and Cam Young are your next 6. Even if you just pick those 6 and just went with the next 6, that's an amazing lineup. Then you got Kisner hanging right there, JT Poston, who's been playing great as of late. So you've got some big decisions ahead of you.
Yeah, like Jack Nicklaus said, why don't we just take the top 12 and I don't have to call anybody and tell them they're off the team. So I'd take the top 12 right now and run with it.
That's a tough phone call to make, I'm sure.
It's bad. There's so much fun in this whole thing, being a part of these teams and being a captain or assistant captain, but calling 2 or 3 of those guys and telling them that they're not going to be on the team is very heartbreaking on both ends. So I'm not saying I've gotten used to it. I've had to do it 2 times, and I've had to help other captains do it. It's not.
Oh, that's
fun,
that's a bad job for an assistant captain. Hey, you call that guy and tell him he didn't make it.
Jay Haas got stuck on bad self service. Couldn't get a call through a guy. Was getting ready to go on Golf Channel and make announcements, and he goes, "You got to call this guy for me," so he doesn't see it on TV. And I did it. Captain's going to call you, but here's what he's going to tell you. It's bad. It's bad.
That's a tough phone call to make.
Fred Couples says I call too many people, which I think is a compliment.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everybody that was in the process feels like they were in the process, and we keep them in it for the future. So, although I hate to do it, I'll call 3 or 4 guys and talk them off the edge because
that builds confidence. Like, hey, at least I knew. I would make me feel, if I didn't get a call, I'd feel worse than if I got a call and said, hey, not this year, but you really were in the running. It was a difficult decision. Just keep working at it.
We've taken guys to practice rounds that didn't end up playing on the team. Dave Stockton sent me to Keela in 91. Go up there and play some practice rounds. You'd fit that course good. Then he didn't pick me. But I felt like I was part of the process and part of the team, and I was ready in 93 when I got to play.
Right. That's awesome. Well, good luck, Davis, man. Really appreciate your time and appreciate your candidness. And thanks for all you do for the tour and for the game of golf and with the Davis Love Foundation and there in St. Simon. So thank you for all you do, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, Davis. Have a good one, buddy. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.